All right. Thank you everyone for being here today. I know we have a small crowd, but we will be recording this webinar and making it available. So we will be sending it out to all the businesses. Today's webinar is going to be focused on emergency preparedness in the Los Altos business community. We're very fortunate. I forgot to introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Anthony Carneseca. I'm the Economic Development Coordinator with the City of Los Altos. And we're very fortunate today to have Ann Hepenstal, Community Emergency Preparedness Coordinator, who does an excellent job with our CERTS team, our BATS teams, any team with an acronym she's in charge of, and helping the city be prepared for any and all disasters. So I'm going to pass along to Ann to give the first part of the presentation, and then I'm going to give a short presentation afterwards about COVID, and then we'll have some time for question and answer. And if you have any questions, we will have our information at the end of the PowerPoint, so please don't hesitate to reach out to us directly.
Well, thank you very much, Anthony, and thanks for everybody for watching. Taking a little bit of time to learn about emergency preparedness and some simple steps you can take can get you started, because that's the hardest bit. So we wanted to talk a little bit about city emergency planning and response and strengthening emergency preparedness across our community, as well as touch on crime prevention and COVID and power outages and so forth. So just to talk for a minute, how does the city of Los Altos prepare for disasters? Probably as a business member of the business community, you probably should know. Well, first off, we look at what are the hazards and vulnerabilities in our community. So for us here in Los Altos, clearly it's wildfire, as we're all very sensitized to right now. Maybe not directly here, but we certainly were impacted by smoke, and there's always the risk of nearby fires sending embers over or people needing to evacuate. Certainly earthquakes, we live in earthquake country, it's the reality. Floods, maybe downtown not so much, but if you're near a creek or if you're in an area that's subject to localized flooding, that can be an issue. And then of course, we're currently under the public health emergency. So you can always be thinking about what are some vulnerabilities that we have. Definitely government has a role, right? We bring our police department, our public works, county fire, emergency medical services, and we have an emergency operations plan, but there's a role for the community and the businesses as well. We want everyone to take a moment and think about what are your evacuation routes? You know the way you always come to work. What are the other ways out of Los Altos? And if those are blocked, is there yet another way? So take a minute, look at a map, check it out. You need to know what are the warnings and what are the sources of information that would be authoritative to get the best updates. We'll talk about some of the warning systems in a little bit. We want you to take a little bit of time on emergency preparedness and do some basic planning. And it'd be great if you have some first aid and some response skills as well, because the community, businesses, and government all have to work together in responding to and recovering from emergencies. And certainly we need to be ready. So within the city of Los Altos, we take time to prepare, make sure that we're ready to prepare, respond, and recover from emergencies. We think about all hazards. We take the all hazards approach rather than thinking if this, then that. We say, if this outage occurred, we don't really care why, what will we do? So that we can be ready no matter what the event is. We use a standardized approach to coordinating the emergency response, which aligns with other cities and the state government so that we all talk the same language and we can help each other. We're signed up with a master mutual aid agreement and with other jurisdictions within the county so that we can help each other with information or resources or people as needed. And we do have a city emergency operations plan, and we do practice at least once a year. This is a picture of our current Los Altos Emergency Operations Center. Thankfully, it's not used very much. It's just a conference room over at the Municipal Services Center, but you can see the picture there of us in action during a recent drill, and you can see Anthony there in his cool white vest. So when a disaster event occurs, how can the city respond? Well, it depends. You might get help within hours, it might be days, so you have to be ready to take care of yourself. So here's a little graphic. This is from a commute survey we did in 2018, but it's probably about the same today, and it's probably about the same for our neighboring jurisdictions as well. Where does your staff start the commute? You might want to take a look as well, because when we looked at it, we realized, wow, the average commute is 24 miles. For our police department, it's almost 29 miles. So if you think about an event during the day, people are on duty, they're on shift, they're going to be there pretty quickly. But if it's at 2 a.m., most of the police, the average is 29 miles away. We call them in, they're going to do their best to come, but it depends on what happened with their home and their family, what's in the way, what bridges are down, what roads are blocked, how quickly can they get there. It's probably not going to be the same as on a regular workday. So that's the reality of our situation. So we encourage you to be prepared yourself and to think about within your staff, if you needed to call somebody in or get help to unbury something or whatever you need to do, how long would it take them to get there? And what would happen to them in their homes? How are they prepared? So how can your business and your staff be more prepared? Here's a few things that we're going to talk about. Register for emergency alerts, get ready for power outages, make a plan and make a kit, and work together with your neighboring businesses. So first off is the emergency notification systems. You're all working within the county of Santa Clara. Please sign up for our countywide emergency notification system called Alert SEC. Go to the website alertsec.org. You can register your contact information, your email, your phone numbers. You can put in your business address if you want. If you live in the county of Santa Clara, put in your home address. That enables us to direct emergency notification messages that are relevant to you, whether it's something after an earthquake or it's a wildfire evacuation notice. There are similar systems in every county. I put down the one for San Mateo County, SMC Alert, but every single county has something similar. It's easy to Google, county emergency notification system and go sign up. Then there's Nixle. This gives us the local alerts. If you already get the little messages from Los Altos Police that say things like, the streets will be closed for the farmer's market, or streets are closed downtown for the open streets program, then you're signed up for Nixle. But if you're not, please sign up. We don't send out many messages, but they keep you aware of some events, be it things like farmer's market, but it can also be accidents, like when Foothill Expressway, there was an accident there and it took down the power lines and Foothill Expressway was shut off for actually a couple of days. It was pretty important to know that before you got caught in the traffic and got all jammed up so you could reroute. And that went out on Nixle. Very simple and easy. You can pick up your phone right now. And just like you're going to text me, instead of texting my phone number, you text 888-777. And then in the message, you put in your zip code. So you put in 94024, hit enter. And that'll come back, oh, you're registered for Los Altos Nixle. 94022. You can put in other phone numbers as well, one at a time, up to 5. And then there's the public safety power shutoffs. We're in fire season, as we all know. And we all remember that PG&E has started this public safety power shutoff program so that they're going to turn off the power in the event of dry conditions and high winds and red flag warnings so that they mitigate the risk of equipment falling and starting a fire. So please go register with PG&E to get the alerts. They will send out alerts when they're going to turn off the power. You can also go to their webpage to get more information. If you're not the account owner, like if you want to know about a power shutoff at the business, but you're renting space, you can sign up for zip code level alerts and you can get those kinds of notifications. Flex alert. So again, with the heat, we've been hearing about issues with the power grid. Flex alert is when PG&E sends out a call to reduce energy use, right? They ask people, homeowners, to do their dishwasher and their laundry at night when the power load is less. Don't do it in the middle of the afternoon when the air conditioning systems are all running around the county. It's a voluntary program to reduce energy use, trying to avert involuntary shutoffs. So that's a way that you can help turn off lights, etc. But know that what that is versus the rotating outages, which is, gosh, we're unable to meet the power needs, load interruption is imminent, we're going to turn you off. And if you've registered for the alerts, PG&E will notify you about the rotating outages. And they have a lookup tool on their website. You can just Google it and it'll show areas that are impacted and estimated shutoff times. So if we all do a good job when they call a flex alert, hopefully we can avoid the rotating outages. But if you're registered with PG&E, you'll hear about the rotating outages as well as the public safety power shutoff so that you know ahead of time and can plan. Next, make a plan and make a kit. So for a business, a communications plan is a little different than it would be for a family, but I think you'll want to know, how will you communicate with your staff? Be it the emergency, some emergencies you're not going to be opening for, but others you may be opening and you need staff to check in, or in an earthquake, you want to know if they're okay. You want to know who's available. You may need to tell them, don't come into work because we have power outages or whatever it is. So what's your communications plan so that they can check in, you know they're safe, you can call them into work, you can tell them not to work, you can tell them, we've had this damage, I need you to come in instead of a regular job, I need you to do this, whatever it is. Does your staff have a commuting plan? Depending on conditions, you might need to have an alternate route home, or you might have to think about, if you're at work and you can't get home, where would you stay? So that may be a good thing to talk about with your staff, and certainly for yourself to develop it. And an emergency kit. You may want to have a basic supply of food and water at your business, or some first aid supplies. You're hopefully not sheltering there for 7 days, but until you can get your feet under you and understand the situation, you may need to have a few basic supplies to tide you over. And if your employees commute by car, I'd encourage them all to put a basic emergency kit in their car, so that whether they're stuck at work or stuck on the way in between work and home, or just out for the day with the family, they have some basic supplies. And I put there, we have a URL, losaltosca.gov/gobag, and we have a whole bunch of information about emergency kits, various types of kits, lists of contents, and some examples. So do that. The other thing around emergency communications plan is, do you know how to change your voicemail? That's on my to-do list for this week. I still haven't gotten around to it, but it's something that's great to do, so that on your phone, you could change your outgoing voicemail, and so it could, instead of my regular, you reached Ann, it would be, hi, this is Ann. I'm okay. I'm staying at Cousin Karen's. Leave me a message, right? So that anybody, friends and family who would call me in an emergency would know, phew, she's fine, and now I know where she is. You should also know how to remotely access your messages. What if I left my phone behind or it's out of power? Can I use another phone to get access to my voicemail so I can see messages that friends or family have left me? So take a little bit of time, get yourself more educated on your phone voicemail and how to use it, because it's a great tool in an emergency. Business Watch. Hopefully people know about this already. This is a program from the Los Altos Police Department. We are inviting businesses to sign up for it, and then we have some communications that go out. We try and pull together information on trends and criminal activity, scams, what to watch for. We are happy to teach about crime prevention techniques to help you deter criminal conduct and improve your safety in the business site. In fact, members of Business Watch can arrange with the police department to come out and do an on-site security assessment and get some tips. The challenge is to do that during COVID, but they will figure out a way to give you good advice about how to improve the security of your business so that you feel safer and prevent crime. It's important to work together on emergency preparedness and crime prevention. So we encourage you, talk to businesses around you. Maybe your neighboring businesses, you guys could work together, sort of like a neighborhood watch. Hopefully you already do. And you can encourage each other, not just for crime prevention and watching each other's back there, but also on emergency preparedness. Maybe you're a very small business with no storage, but you're next to a larger business. Can you collaborate on having some basic emergency supplies that both of you can share? Can you work together on your emergency plan, your emergency communications plan? Maybe a neighboring business, the owner lives in town and you live further away. Can they, after an emergency, go check out your business and call you? Work together with neighboring businesses to improve your preparedness and improve your ability to deter crime. So speaking of crime, hopefully you know about this. We subscribe to a service called City Protect, and various jurisdictions partner with them and provide data. Not everybody does, but City of Los Altos does. The data gets uploaded every 24 hours. You can look on the website. I put the link down there, but you can get to it through the police department or just Google City Protect. The dots will show you what kind of incident occurred, and they have little colors and little icons and stuff like that, and they show property and theft crimes as well as violent crimes as well as disturbance calls. And then you can zoom in and you can click on the dot, you can get all kinds of great information. So if you're wondering what's going on in town, you don't have to wait for the crime log to be published or to get a newsletter, to see the paper. You can go the next day and see events from 24 hours ago. So this is a great resource to understand what's going on and to get actual data. We encourage you to register your surveillance video alarms. And for the city, we do that through City Protect. If we know who has surveillance cameras, it enables our investigations to go more quickly. Police officers can more quickly collect evidence and go through their investigations. And just a reminder, we do require an alarm permit for business alarm systems, so make sure that you've got yours permitted. So here I put in a couple of screen grabs on City Protect. You can see there's a drop down for register your cameras, and then it asks you to register your camera with that information there. And then for the alarm systems, there's a page on the police site. I put the URL down there where you go in and you register your alarm system. Pretty straightforward for both, and it helps you comply with what Los Altos requires, as well as enable better investigations by our police. Now, COVID stuff. Anthony, you want to take it?
Yep, perfect. Thank you, Anne. I'll run through it pretty quickly since it's probably pretty available for most of you, but just as a heads up, the state of California did unveil the blueprint for a safer economy. It's a new framework that is really based on having 4 tiers, and each tier has a criteria, which you can see on the next slide. It should show. And you're still, can you click? There we go, perfect. On this slide, you can see what the tiers are. Right now, we are in the red tier. We are in the substantial tier. Even though our daily new cases is a little above 7, the state has adjusted it to be below 6 because we are conducting so much testing. So just to keep in mind that our numbers are still, our positive test rate is in the orange range, but our number is right about here for the new cases per day. I would suggest that 2 things. 1, please make sure that you're abiding by all regulations. We really want to make sure that everyone is as safe as possible. Customers, employees, anyone who's coming into your store or restaurant, please make sure that they are safe. And then the second thing, please get tested. We do want to suggest that all businesses, especially our frontline workers, are getting tested at minimum twice a month is what the county is recommending. So once every 14 days. Speaking of which, we are coming up on a testing opportunity in downtown on the 24th. So please register for that. You can find more information about that test if you just reach out to me and I can provide that to you. But we are offering free tests and they are happening throughout the county, but we are having one in downtown on the 24th. Next slide. So moving through the tiers. So to move forward to a less restrictive tier, the county must meet the criteria for the next 14 consecutive days. As of yesterday, which was Tuesday, they did update it. We are in the red tier and our numbers have not been shown that we could move into the orange tier. So we have at least 3 weeks until we could move into a new tier. Our numbers are good enough to stay in the red tier as of now. Like I said, it's important to keep in mind, if they do worsen for 2 weeks, you will move backwards. So please keep in mind that we do need to keep the numbers low in order to eventually move forward through the tiers on this blueprint. And I touched on it a little bit. This is from last week, shows, but we are still in that red tier. So we are in that red tier, and I don't think we will be moving next week just because our numbers have gone down, and our adjusted number I think is 7.2 as of yesterday, or the unadjusted, and then our adjusted number is 6.3. So we are well under that 7 number adjusted, but like I said, we're still teetering a little bit there to potentially end up in the purple if it continues trending up. And then the latest county order, I'm sure all of you have seen this and you're well aware, but just remember to require everyone to wear face coverings, maintain 6 feet of distance at all times, and always provide hand washing and sanitizing supplies to customers and staff. The one thing that I have noticed in some of our stores is that There are sanitizing supplies, but they're not readily available or immediately obvious where they are. So please try and make that big neon sign or something to really draw people towards that sanitization station so they can stay safe. And then all businesses must submit the social distancing protocol through COVID-19prepared.org, which is a county website, which will give you your little check mark that you'll put in the window. And the biggest key is that if you do have any positive tests by any employees, please report it to the public health department within 4 hours. It's really imperative that businesses do provide that information to the public health department so they can begin contact tracing. So the moment you start telling the county about what's going on, they'll be able to respond quickly. And then this will just show what you need to have in your window. You just need to have the handy dandy check mark, which will be emailed to you after you submit through COVID-19prepared.org. And then you would fill in this social distancing protocol visitor information sheet, which basically just provides contact information for who should be contacted if people have questions. And then feel free to put any other flyers in the windows, but you must have some signage requiring masks and making sure people understand that they need to social distance when in your store. There are some copies of this on the county and the state website, so please feel free to print those out and put those in your window. And then now we're back to questions and discussion. And then here's our information. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to email Ann or myself. Our emails are right here, ahepenstal@losaltosca.gov or acarnesec@losaltosca.gov. I know we have a small attendance today for our presentation. I'm not sure if Scott has any questions. Scott?
Okay.
No?
And of course, we invite everybody to go to that website, losaltosca.gov/emergency-prep. And just FYI, not directly targeted at businesses, but we're running a series of webinars. We're going to have some coming up about emergency kits again. You can go to losaltosca.gov/prepares. And we have a list of various recorded webinars, presentations, as well as the upcoming webinars. And that's a great way to get more tips.
All right.
Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate it.
And I want to thank Ann Hepenstal for coming and presenting to the group today and for this webinar. It's much appreciated. This recording will be sent out to all the businesses, and then we will make it available on the city's website as well.